The Twitter Training Project, presented by Melissa Paulik. The problem. Some of the problems that I saw in my own school were a lack of parent involvement, staff members feeling disconnected from one another. We had talked about several times at staff meetings how staff members didn't know what other people were doing in their classrooms, what resources they were using, and how we could be better at collaborating and sharing those things. Also, staff members voiced concerns with keeping up with the changes that are happening in technology and education since things change so quickly. And we send home, paper newsletters, and parents tend not to read them. So we needed new ways to advertise activities and events that are happening in the school that will reach the majority of our families, and also just ways to tell our school's positive stories. I work in a community, it's an inner city school district, and it seems like all you ever hear are the negative things, the problems that we're having, and so we need to find new ways to shed light on the positive things that we're doing in our buildings and in our classrooms every day. So what is the need? There is a need to create a training program to introduce Twitter to the staff members in my building as a tool to promote our school and to network with professionals in the field. What is the cause of the problem? The cause is a societal change towards getting information digitally as opposed to reading paper newsletters that are being sent home currently. The goals of this training project are to educate staff about how to create a Twitter account and use its basic functions, to give staff examples of ways that Twitter can be used as a tool to promote our school, to explain the benefits of creating a personal learning network, and to demonstrate how staff can create a personal learning network using Twitter. The target population for this particular project is the population within my building, which includes 17 teachers and 1 principal. The ages range from 35 to 62 years old. Ethnicities are Caucasian and Hispanic. Gender, we're an all-female staff. And the education ranges from bachelor's in education to a master's plus 30. This is an example of the pre-training survey questions that I would give out as part of my needs analysis to figure out where the participants' experience level with Twitter is. So the first question that I would ask would, do you have a Twitter account? How often do you log into your Twitter account? And the last question, what do you use your Twitter account for? This is going to give me information as to the experience level of the people who are interested in participating in the training, and it gives me a jumping off point for where I need to start, how much background I need to give on the functions of Twitter. An overview of the basic objectives of this design project are to create a Twitter account, write a basic tweet and send it out, explain the purposes of hashtags and tweets, describe ways that educators are using Twitter, state the purpose of creating a personal learning network, connect with at least 2 professional organizations and at least 2 educators using Twitter's follow function, and collaborate within grade levels to come up with a plan on how to incorporate Twitter in the classroom. I designed 2-day Twitter training sessions. The instructional strategies that are going to be used: first, direct instruction and modeling. The facilitator will actually open their own Twitter account and explain the basic functions of Twitter and actually go through and show participants how to tweet, how to actually use the functions of the program. There will also be YouTube videos where the participants will just watch the video, and then the other strategy that will be used would be hands-on application. So after the facilitator has shown and modeled, the learners will have time to apply. So an example of this is in one activity, I have the learners partnering up and actually searching for their partner on Twitter and then sending them a tweet. So this practices searching for someone on Twitter and also sending them a tweet by using the @ in the user's handle. Also, the last strategy that is used is group discussions and collaboration. So an example of this is I asked the learners to share one thing that they have learned about hashtags with the group and what hashtags they used in their tweets. So after they applied, had time to practice and apply using hashtags, we come back as a group and we discuss what they learned about hashtags, again, to just reiterate it to everyone, and then also what they found out on their own. So it's really group discussion and collaboration, and the participants are really part of the learning. This training project is meant to be implemented in 12 hours. They're 2-day sessions. So the first day 6 hours, the second day 6 hours. It is meant to be located in a media center where computers and laptops can be easily set out, and media can be projected on a screen so that all learners can view it. The necessary accommodations for implementation of this training is that the seating arrangements need to be so that every learner can see the projected media, and they also need to be arranged in a way that collaboration can occur easily between the participants. Power strips need to be easily accessible so that people, if they have charging issues, they can charge their computers really easily. And also extra computers and laptops need to be made available in case somebody forgets theirs or has a problem with theirs. You don't want to have somebody not being able to participate because they didn't have the necessary equipment that they needed. So just like we do with our students, evaluation is ongoing throughout the 2 training sessions. Built into the lesson plans, I have given the facilitator guides or guidelines to go around and walk around the learners and make sure that they're able to tweet out and find educational organizations depending on what the activity is that they're doing. The facilitator is constantly circulating the room and evaluating the learners and helping them where they need. Also, I have 3 written evaluations. The first one is a summative evaluation. So at the end of the second day, the participants will get in with their grade level groups, and sort of like a PLC type setting, they'll go with their grade levels and they will actually fill out this Twitter in the Classroom game plan. So this is meant to kind of give them an idea, okay, what do I do next? Because I think often we go to professional development and we learn all these things, but we don't actually make a game plan about how we're going to use it in the classroom, and so then we never do. So the idea is that they will leave with a game plan, and that might increase the chances that they'll actually do something about what they have learned. So the game plan asks them to get with their grade levels and to make a list of ways that Twitter can be used in the classroom and in their school. And then ask them, what will you do to incorporate Twitter in your classroom and your professional life? So what are they actually going to do? What will they need in order to accomplish those things that they want to do? And how will they know that they were successful? So what guidelines do they have to evaluate themselves? Another part of the evaluation is at the end of each day of training, I have participants filling out a evaluation survey of sort where they write down 3 things that they learned from the day's sessions, and they describe how they will use what they learned today in their profession or in their classroom. This is an example of the last day's evaluation. It has those first 2 questions, but it also adds some questions about the actual training. So on a scale of 1 to 5, how likely are you to use Twitter in your classroom? And what do you like about the Twitter? What did you like about the 2-day training sessions? How did you feel about the training sessions? Could they be improved? And what constructive notes do you have for your facilitator? These are questions that are going to help me and the design team make the training better in the future. So we're evaluating not only what they learned and did they meet the objectives, but also we're evaluating the course itself and how we can move it forward. What did I learn from completing this project? I learned how to apply the concepts of the ADDIE model. I had learned about the ADDIE model in another class and kind of gone through the process, but this was more in depth, and I feel like I really got a handle on the different parts of the ADDIE model and how I apply it to creating a training. Also, I learned the importance of a need analysis. You have to know who your participants are and what the goals of the organization is that you're making the training for, and really know what the needs are of the organization and the participants in order to make an effective training for them. I learned about writing ABCD objectives, which I had never heard of before, and that was probably the toughest part for the training, was writing these objectives for me. And also how to use Twitter, which was the reason why I wanted to make this project in the first place. I realized that Twitter is a very valuable educational tool, but I was not using it in any way, and I didn't really understand how to use it. So by creating this training, it helped me to really learn how to use Twitter and actually make an account myself and create a personal learning network and all of those things. I also benefited from the layout of this course by learning from my peers. So the way that the discussions were, where we handed in sort of our rough drafts and then got feedback from our peers and then did our final, I really liked the layout of that because I was able to see what other people were doing as far as their different parts of the process, and so then that gave me ideas for my own project and how I could make my own things better. Also, just getting the feedback from your peers, it was good because everybody always said what you were doing well, and some people had suggestions, and that was a great way to enrich the learning, I think, for the course. So the real question is, how do I apply what I learned? I'm going to continue to use Twitter as an educational tool to grow my own personal learning network. I'm going to use Twitter in my classroom to communicate with my families and stakeholders and to tell the positive story of what's happening in my classroom every day. And I want to use my knowledge of the ADDIE model and of writing good objectives to create future trainings and maybe serve on some training boards within the district, and also just using them in my daily lesson plans in my own classroom.